Welcome back. It's now time for your midday sports. Now, it's almost certain national hammer throw record holder Naoka Clunis will not be competing at this summer's Olympic Games after her fight to be admitted to the Games ended in defeat after the ad hoc division of the Court of Arbitration for Sport (CAS) ruled that it does not have jurisdiction to hear the application filed on July 18. This as the CAS ad hoc division noted that the dispute arose more than 10 days before the opening ceremony for the Games, which is when the CAS ad hoc division's jurisdiction begins. Based on submissions on July 4, 2024, Clunis's name was omitted from the list sent to World Athletics. By July 7, she was informed by the J3s that her name was missing from the list, and on July 8, World Athletics confirmed that her name could not be added, despite Clunis's contention that the dispute only crystallized when she received detailed submissions from World Athletics on July 19. The CAS determined that the dispute had arisen earlier. Attorney Dr. Emir Crown represented Clunis.
That her name wasn't on the list, but the particulars of the JAAA's correspondence with World Athletics, those particulars, she didn't have sight of that until the actual hearing.
Regarding the dispute over her non-inclusion to the Olympics, CAS said, quote, "The panel fully recognizes and appreciates the unfairness to the athlete of the events and that have occurred and of the impact on her being deprived of the opportunity to compete in the Paris Olympic Games." And the Jamaica Athletics Administrative Association, the J3, says it's deeply saddened by the decision of the ad hoc division of CAS involving Naoka Clunis, noting they are making every effort in the hope that World Athletics and the IOC will find a way to enable Ms. Clunis to compete in the Olympics. Their reaction came following today's 11-page ruling by CAS. The local governing body for track and field, in a press release, added, quote, "At all times, we, J3s, have been supportive of the athletes' participation at the Olympic Games and, in fact, had petitioned World Athletics to include her in the list of participating athletes, even if it meant increasing the number of participants to 33. World Athletics did not alter their position of 32 participants, but maintained that if any vacancy arises, it would be allocated to her. Notwithstanding the above, CAS also noted that the respondent, the J3s, would have been unable to provide the relief being sought by the applicant, Ms. Clunis, and that World Athletics and the IOC would be the ones that could provide that relief. Now to football, the Under-20 Reggae boys will look to rebound from their horrendous start to the CONCACAF Under-20 Championship when they take on Costa Rica in their second group game today. The young Reggae boys were hammered 9-0 by defending champions United States and currently sit at the foot of the table without a point. The young Reggae boys need to win their next two games to ensure that they qualify for the quarterfinal round. The game will begin at 6 p.m. Jamaica time at the Estadio Miguel Alemán in Mexico. Meanwhile, Costa Rica played to a 1-1 draw with Cuba in their opening game. The top two teams from the three groups, along with the two best third-place teams, would advance to the quarterfinal round of the competition. The semi-finalists will advance to the FIFA Under-20 World Cup. And finally, Manchester Spurs defeated St. Catherine Racers 45-38 in the final of the Red Stripe Flavors Elite Netball League on Sunday at the National Indoor Sports Centre. Spurs led throughout the contest with quarterly scores of 16-5, 32-13, 39-22 before coming away with a 45-38 victory. Chantel Slater led the way for the Spurs with 32 goals from 36 attempts and got support from Giselle Allison, who scored 13 goals from 24 attempts. Tracy Francis had 22 from 28 for the Racers, and the Kingston Hummingbirds outscored the St. James Sharps 55-50 in the third-place playoff. And that's it for your Midday Sports Report. O'Shane, it's back to you.
Thanks, Bernardo. And that's the Midday News. I'm O'Shane Masters. Join us at 7 for Primetime News. On behalf of the news, sports and production teams, have a good afternoon.